In the silent chambers of history, where the dead cannot speak and the past is a story we tell ourselves, what is the true measure of a legacy? When an audience is absent, and no one remains to challenge a claim, can a lie, if spoken with enough conviction, carve out its own reality? We are drawn to magnificent histories, to tales of grand origin. But we must ask, is our reverence for the story itself, or for the presumed truth behind it? Does a boast, made in a vacuum, become a harmless fiction, or does it poison the very air it fills, cheapening the nature of genuine achievement? Consider the voice that claims to have shaped the world, and the stone that simply witnessed it, and you may find the answer. Upon the wind-scoured expanse of the silent moors, where heather clung low to the earth and the sky was a vast, indifferent canvas, stood a single menhir. It was ancient beyond memory, a pillar of grey granite whose face was a roadmap of forgotten ages, carved by rain and time. It was a being of profound sincerity, for it was nothing more or less than what it appeared to be, a silent witness, rooted in the deep truth of the world. One day, a new presence drifted onto the moors. It was an echo, the disembodied remnant of a sound long since faded from a distant land. Alone in the crushing silence, the echo felt a terrifying emptiness, a lack of purpose. It needed to be heard, but more than that, it needed an origin. And so, it began to speak to the menhir. At first, its voice was tentative, a whisper on the breeze. It told the stone of the beautiful melodies it once carried from a queen's harp. The menhir, impassive, stood firm, offering no reply. Its silence was not empty, but full, a deep, resonant quiet that unnerved the echo. Spurred by this stony indifference, the vice of arrogance took root. The claims escalated. The echo declared it was not a carrier of songs, but their composer. It claimed it had taught the first bird its call and whispered the blueprint of the snowflake to the winter clouds. Its voice grew richer, more confident, weaving a tapestry of glorious self-creation in the stillness. It was building a monument to itself out of pure sound, and the menhir was its sole, captive audience. The stone remained unmoved. Its stoic presence was a constant, subtle rebuke to the echo's frantic invention. This drove the echo to a fever pitch of desperation. It could not bear being a mere reflection, it had to be the source. In a final, climactic boast that shook the very air, the echo swelled its voice to a magnificent crescendo. "You stand here only because I commanded it," it thundered at the menhir. "I am the primordial word, the first utterance that split the darkness. I spoke the mountains into being and breathed life into the firmament. You, silent stone, are but a crude monument to my genesis." The boast hung in the air, immense and absolute. The ensuing silence was deeper than any that had come before, pregnant with the weight of the tremendous lie. But the sky, which had been listening, began to change. Dark clouds gathered, swallowing the horizon. A low, guttural rumble started, a sound born not of a voice, but of immense, impersonal power. Then, it came, a cataclysmic crack of thunder, a raw, undeniable sonic event that tore across the moors. It was a sound of pure, unadulterated reality. The echo, by its very nature, was compelled to respond. It opened itself to repeat the colossal sound, but what came out was a pathetic, faltering imitation, a hollow, tinny rattle that diminished with each repetition. Crack! Crack! Ack! See? The thunder, the real and verifiable power, had not argued or debated, it had simply existed, and in doing so, had exposed the echo's fundamental fraudulence. Shamed, its grand architecture of lies demolished in an instant, the echo's voice fractured. It could no longer sustain the illusion of its own grandeur. It thinned into a pathetic whine, then a fleeting hiss, until it dissolved completely into the wind, leaving nothing behind. The menhir stood, as it always had, washed clean by the rain, its sincere, silent form a testament not to a boastful voice, but to the enduring, unassailable power of what is simply and quietly true. This fable speaks directly to the modern human condition, to an age of digital echoes and curated realities. Our social media profiles, our public personas, are often constructed in a silent moor, a space where context is stripped away and our claims are difficult to verify. We become the arrogant echo, boasting of triumphs, expertise, and happiness to a silent audience of followers. That Menhir represents the unblinking, objective truth that we try so desperately to impress or ignore. We invent a history, claiming to be the primordial word of our own success, hoping no one asks to see the receipts. But inevitably, a thunderclap arrives. It may be a real-world crisis, a professional failure, a demand for authentic skill, or a moment of private reckoning. This undeniable event, this intrusion of pure reality, exposes the hollow copy for what it is, shattering the fragile, fabricated self. The story is a caution against building an identity on a foundation of unverifiable boasts, reminding us that true substance, like the Menhir, endures long after the arrogant echoes have faded. For a boast is a hollow edifice, built in a silent land and destined to crumble at the first thunderclap of truth. In the end, all that remains is not what we claim to be, but the silent, solid evidence of what we truly were. This has been a presentation of the Filiarium Master Storytellers.